Well, today is I don't know what it is, 24th of September. Fall is closing in quickly. I'm having some tea this morning, or I had a cup of coffee. I want to talk about something that we see every day. This transgender stuff is so maddening to me. The delusion and the delusion of reality, and it is something that is beyond my understanding. It's just something I just don't understand. So I had this thought today. I've been I have loved animals since I was a little kid. And back in the day when I grew up, you didn't have the internet to find answers for a lot of things. So you had to read. You had to look at books. And the first fish tank I had, I think I was like in second grade. I got pictures of it at home. That's back when they used to make aquariums with a stainless steel frame around them and a slate bottom. And I can remember some of the first fish I got were guppies. I don't know if you know anything about them, but guppies are live-bearing fish. They give birth to live fry, and the babies develop inside the mother. The eggs do, and then the eggs hatch, and the mother spits them out like they were live. And guppies are sexually dimorphic, which means you can tell the males from the females by looking at them. Right? You figure it out real fast when you're a kid. And it's a real elemental thing when you like animals. You figure out, what do I have got here? Do I got a boy and do I got a girl? So then let's move forward here a little bit. So when I was a teenager, I started breeding parrots. And the majority of parrots, as far as species go, they're not sexually dimorphic. You can't look at them and determine which one is a male, which one is a female. And you'd have to get them either, now you can get them genetically sexed, but back in the day, my vet was a pioneer in what was called surgical sexing. He would make a small incision, be like where our hip is, or where our pelvis is, and he would look in with a device that was due for orthopathic surgery. It has a little, you look through a scope, and you go inside, you look for either the testes or the ovaries, and then you could determine what you had. So now, I'm way out of that parrot thing, but I've kept pigeons. I've kept pigeons for many years now. And the interesting thing, about pigeons is trying to determine their gender can be very, very difficult outside of their behavior. And the males will do a little, what I call a courtship dance. I think I've recorded it before. It might be on my channel somewhere. Where the males, if you're ever in a city and you see pigeons feeding in a park or something, just watch their behavior, and you'll watch the males will bow and dance, go around a little circle and bow and up and down and make these crazy cooing sounds when they're kind of courting a female. Outside of that, it can be really hard to determine their gender. You have to really look hard. And then I learned over the years of having them, if you pay attention and you look at two birds, you'll look that the male will be his head will be slightly bigger. He'll have a slightly bigger build to him. And now I can pretty much, as a mature bird, I can look at him and say, that one's a male, that one's a female. The female will be a little more dainty in their head and their neck. They'll be a little more dainty, where the males will be a little bulkier. Now, what am I getting at this? Well, as human beings, when we grow up, as children, and we move through adulthood, it is pretty easy to recognize the sexual dimorphism of human beings. It's not hard, particularly mature human beings. And what am I getting at here? Well, most human beings, at least most, there are some races where the men can be easily disguised as females because they, because of their genetics and so on and so forth. But the vast majority of male human beings are bigger. We are broader. We are bulkier. We have a particular shape. We're more V-shaped than hourglass-shaped. Our faces tend to be heavier. Our skulls are heavier. And, in reality is if you and I, whoever's watching this, if you drop dead and everything decomposed off you, including your clothes, and somebody dug you up in 400 years, they could basically tell you what race you are, what age you are, and what gender you are based on your skeleton, without any DNA. The point I'm getting is, it's a big deal now if you misgender somebody. Why do you misgender somebody? Because as a human being, when you look at somebody, despite the costume they're wearing, if they're male or female. Now, that might be different. You go to Thailand, where you got a whole bunch of lady boys, because with that particular racial group, the males are smaller. They can more easily be imposters of females. And here is the sad truth of reality. There is male and female, and there isn't anything in between. Any of this other stuff that they say is a social construct is a social construct for them. They are trying to redefine gender based on their social construct. And I want to leave you with this. It's a real simple thing. If we had a shit hit the fan moment, let's say our economy collapsed. Let's say you could take any type of historical event through the beginning of time when a culture collapses and things develop into anarchy and you have all this crazy stuff going on. The men step up, the women step back. Historically, that's the way it's always been. The men step up and the women step back. There's always going to be cowardly men. And they generally will pay a price for that in some way, shape, or form. Cowardly men will pay a price. But men that step up always excel because they get the job done. So in a situation, in a shit hits the fan situation, the men will step up, the cowards will step back, and they will be with the women. And these guys, these men who dress up and play female, are not going to be first on the lifeboat. They're not going to be the first in the boat on a sinking Titanic. Do you understand this? They are going to be grabbed by the men and pulled back because we're going to let the women and the children go in, not the ones who think that they are or play dress up. That's really what it comes down to. So, don't feel bad if you misgender somebody. Don't. And don't let them guilt you into feeling bad. As a matter of fact, you should just plain out tell them, look, I'm not going to feed your delusion. You are obviously male. I can tell. You are obviously female. I could tell. Because biologically speaking, it is programmed in our DNA to recognize the gender differences in our species. I mean, I'm sorry, folks. We ain't much different than parrots. We ain't much different than pigeons. We ain't much different than guppies. The difference is they know how to stay in their lane. They recognize each other instinctively. And we as human beings are not any different than that. We recognize each other instinctively. Don't let them push the narrative that the gender is a social construct. It's total bullshit. It is directly tied to our biology, and there's no undoing it. There is no undoing it. I have done videos about this before. Let's say, you know what, if you take a man and you cut off the testicles and do all kinds of Frankenstein science medical procedures to reinvert the penis and make it into something it's not, you basically just created a human gelding. You just gelded a man. You didn't do anything else. You gelded a man. You got a male gelding. If you don't know what a gelding is, I suggest you look it up. That's all you've done. You have gelded the man. If you neuter a male dog when he's young, he will piss like a female most of his life. If you wait until he's sexually mature and then you remove his nads, he will still lift his leg like a male because he matured. You can, if you decide you're going to take a child, a male child, and you're going to remove that part of his anatomy, you are going to hinder his potential male human development, and you are going to stunt him. And then you might be able to more easily effeminate him because you basically removed the part that makes him male. You didn't change him as a male genetically, but you definitely removed his potential for height, strength, width, broadness, muscle density, everything. That's all you're doing. You're altering his biology. So, I'm going to leave a quote that he created them, male and female. And that's just the plain, simple way about it. Don't feel bad if you misgender somebody. Call them out on the mental illness. Call them out on the reality that it is, even if it gets confrontational. You don't have to come to blows. You just walk away, because if you decided to give in to these people who decide that they are something that they're not, you might as well affirm the people who think they're Julius Caesar, Abraham Lincoln, or Napoleon. It's just that simple. Life doesn't have to be complicated. These people make life complicated. Keep things simple. Till next time.